Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and Warren Buffett is one of the biggest investors in the world. He invests into companies, sells their stock, and makes a huge profit. Basically, if he is interested in buying some of your company, he sees something in you. And that's the interesting thing with a report that came out today. Warren Buffett apparently saw something in Uber that he wanted to give them $3 billion and invest in the company. But the deal apparently fell through, because to get that $3 billion, Buffett was asking for something that most investors weren't asking for: a little bit of control in the company. According to Bloomberg, Warren Buffett proposed investing $3 billion in Uber Technologies Inc. earlier this year, but the talks fell apart following disagreements over the terms and size of the deal. People familiar with the matter said the now-dead Uber transaction is reminiscent of the winning bet Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway Inc. made on Goldman Sachs Group Inc. during the financial crisis. Buffett invested $5 billion in the Goldman Sachs, lending his premature to the bank. I think I mispronounced that wrong. When it was reeling after the collapse of rival Lehman Brothers Holdings Inc. in late 2008. In exchange, Buffett's company got preferred stock and ultimately netted Berkshire more than $1.6 billion in profit. That's a nice little return. Berkshire also got warrants to buy Goldman stock that produced an even bigger gain. Buffett proposed similar terms to Uber in the wake of a crisis of the ride-hailing company's own making. Buffett would have effectively lent Uber his sterling reputation along with some capital in exchange for cushy deal terms. A spokesperson for Uber declined to comment. Buffett did not immediately respond to requests for comment left with an assistant, although it should be noted that you can look it up. You don't even have to look it up. I'll include a follow-up link below. Buffett has since commented and confirmed the story, saying that he had great respect for the current Uber CEO, but that it just didn't work because they couldn't come to terms, which we're going to discuss here, because under the new proposed agreement, Berkshire Hathaway would have provided a convertible loan to Uber that would have protected Buffett's investment should Uber hit financial straits, while providing significant upside if Uber continued to grow in value, said the people who spoke under condition of anonymity because the discussions were private. Buffett's initial offer was well above $3 billion, one of the people said. So here's the thing. All those talks that we had about how no major investor really wanted to invest in Uber, which, of course, that ended up not being the case. SoftBank eventually, invested in them. Apparently, Warren Buffett was definitely someone who was interested, and that is something we need to take into consideration. During negotiations, Uber Chief Executive Officer Dara K. proposed decreasing the size of the deal to $2 billion, one person said, hoping to get Buffett's backing while giving him a potentially smaller share of the company. That sounds a lot like Uber. Hey, no. We'd like to give you a little less so that we can have more control. Hey, Warren, don't take it personally. They've been doing that to the drivers for years. The deal fell apart after the two sides couldn't agree on terms, one of the people said. Buffett confirmed the talks to CNBC, quote, "I'm a great admirer of Dara. Some of the reported details are not correct, but it's true that Berkshire had discussions with Uber." So, anyway, that's an interesting story because, first of all, I was not under the impression that an American investor really wanted to invest in Uber. For all the people that you see giving startup money for shares, you didn't see too many actual investors like Warren Buffett's, the ones who could bring credibility to the company and could maybe steer it in a good direction, and someone who could hold the company accountable if they were doing something wrong. And Uber is definitely a company that, in many, many ways, for many years, have needed someone to keep them under control. For a while, it looked like Arianna Huffington might have been that person, kind of. She at least seemed to be steering the board in a different direction, but we don't hear much from her anymore. And some of you might feel that is for the best, myself included. I have serious issues with her myself. But Buffett would have definitely been a good thing for Uber. Maybe Uber wouldn't have been so good for him because he would have had to deal with all the stuff that we're dealing with now and had been dealing with a long time. but he would have brought some respectability to the company that it desperately needed. But of course, Dara doesn't want to concede too much control of the company. And you know what? There's something admirable about that, about a guy who says, no, I've got a plan and I'm going to steer the plan in this direction. And according to another article I read today, which I'm not going to be reporting on its own news story because I don't think it needs to, apparently they are very much well within the range and the goal of getting to an IPO by 2019. And, I have no reason to doubt otherwise, especially since they're taking like 50 to 80% of the driver's fare. But yeah, I thought it would have been interesting. What if Warren Buffett had actually invested in it? What were some of the demands he would have made for Uber? I don't think he would have made much demand for the drivers, for the record, but he might have asked Uber to, maybe end this flying car nonsense, if anything, because that's not going anywhere. But I don't know, it would have been interesting. What do you folks think, though? What do you think Warren Buffett would have brought to Uber? Do you think it would have been a good thing had he invested in Uber? Do you wish he had? Or do you think maybe it's best for everyone that he does not get involved? I would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy the videos I make, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even $1 a month helps a lot with running the channel. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.